Great. Hello. Good afternoon. We're glad to have you here. I'm Cheryl Seamers. I'm the Chancellor at the University of Alaska Anchorage. And on behalf, thank you. I'm the newly appointed Chancellor as of last week. On behalf of the entire University of Alaska Anchorage, welcome to campus and to the Wendy Williamson Auditorium. UAA's story is rooted in community, driven by purpose, and powered by a dual mission that is transforming lives and shaping Alaska's future. UAA is more than a university. We are a place that we hope our students and our community call home. Thank you to Co-Chair Mears and Kaufman and the Anchorage delegation for engaging with UAA and having this town hall right here on our campus as an educational community center where opportunity meets innovation and where Alaskans come to learn, grow, and lead. We'd like to welcome you to UAA, and we're excited about the upcoming session. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm Senator James Kaufman, Senate District F. That'll be my introduction, so I won't go again when we come down the line in the order of, in the sense of getting as much time as we can to listen to folks, because that's what today is all about. This is the Anchorage delegation. All of the representatives and senators we could get together who didn't have schedule conflicts or have a plane get canceled on them, as was the case. So we got everybody here we could, as we do every year, around the middle of session in order to listen. So our job is to listen as the folks who want to speak get 2 minutes to come up and tell us about whatever it is that's on their mind, important things that we're facing here in Alaska, things that they want us to think about as we're in the middle of session. So with that, if you get your chance, if you run for 2 minutes, please try to stick to it. We hate to have to hustle people off, but we want anyone who wants to talk to us have their 2 minutes, and so that we can respectfully listen. And speaking of respectful, there's folks in here that may not agree with each other, so let's treat everyone as well as we can. The golden rule, treat others as you would have others treat yourself. That'll make sure that nobody feels inhibited from saying what they want to say, because it's all important, and diversity of opinion is as important as any other form of diversity. So with that, Representative Mears.
Thank you. I'm Representative Donna Mears, and I represent East Anchorage and South Muldoon. In addition to oral testimony today, there's a QR code for providing electronic written testimony, and then there's also a handout up front on ways to engage with the legislature. So I'm going to task my colleagues here. Name, district, pass along, please, because we want to hear from folks. Senator Tobin, you are first up with the assignment.
Hello, everyone. My name is Lukey Gale Tobin, and I have the pleasure and privilege of representing the neighbors who comprise North Anchorage. That's Fairview, South Addition, Government Hill, downtown Anchorage, and parts of Northeast Muldoon and Eastridge.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Genevieve Mina. I represent House District 19. Those are the Anchorage neighborhoods of Airport Heights, Mountain View, Russian Jack, Costco.
My name is Carolyn Hall. I represent House District 16. That's the West Anchorage neighborhoods of Turnagain, Spenard, and Sand Lake.
Let's hear some cheers for people. I'm Representative Dan Sadler. I've got the privilege of representing House District 24, Eagle River, Birchwood, Chugiak, Clutna Falls. I serve on the Resources Committee in Labor and Commerce. We used to have a UAA branch campus in our district, but we lost it. We're hoping to get it back someday.
I'm Andy Josephson, House District 13. I had this district and it was taken away from me, and now I represent South Midtown. That's East Sand Lake, Taku Campbell, Campbell Park, the heart of the Diamond Business District.
Hi, everyone. I'm Calvin Schrage. I represent House District 12, and if you're not familiar, that's between Dowling and Abbott, mountainside of the highway. Very good to be with you today. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Bill Wilikowski, State Senator. I represent East Anchorage and Russian Jack. I also want to mention that Representative Ted Eichscheid sent me a text. He was on the evening flight. It was canceled, couldn't get on the morning flight. And Senator Kathy Giesel, I just texted, she couldn't get, her evening flight was canceled. She tried to take the called the milk run and is stuck in Cordova now. So they're both going to be monitoring this from afar.
Thank you. I'm Senator Forrest Dunbar, originally from Cordova, actually, so she enjoys it there. I represent the same district as Representative Mina and Representative Gray to my right. That includes where you are right now, the University and Medical District, and very glad to be here today. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Representative Andrew Gray. I represent the UMed district. Welcome to my district.
Too, we're live streaming, so the reps and senators that couldn't get here can listen just as well online. So they're not here, but they will be able to monitor.
Zach Fields, House District 17, downtown. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for being here. And I represent Midtown Anchorage, that goes from right at the line of the university all the way down through most of Spenard. And grateful to be here. Thank you. Galvin.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for coming out in the snow today. My name is Chuck Kopp. I represent south of Diamond and west of the new Seward Highway, House District 10. It's a privilege to be here and meet with you all today.
Hello, my name is Mia Costello, and I represent District 15, which is Jewel Lake, Sand Lake, Campbell Lake, and Bayshore. Thank you for coming today.
Hi, I'm Elvie Gray Jackson. I have a passion for public service, and I'm currently representing District G, Midtown, Spenard, Campbell Park, a little bit of Turnagain, a little bit of Sand Lake. Thank you for being here.
Hi, Senator Kelly Merrick, proudly representing District L in Chugiak, Eagle River.
Hi, good afternoon. I'm Kai Holland. I represent House District 9, which is a interesting district that begins with the Basher-Stuckagin Heights area in the mid-hillside, continues across Glen Alps, and then most of the south hillside area south of Huffman, but also continuing all the way from Girdwood down to Whittier. It's a fabulous district, but thank you for being here today.
This year we're doing a little different. We're not calling out folks' names, but we got numbers, so you kind of know when you're coming up next. So we have an MC on the numbers. There we go, Grace.
Okay, is this my phone? Okay, I will be calling out numbers. If you wouldn't mind raising them, we'll start if numbers 1 and 2 could raise their numbers. The mics will come to you.
I'll sit if it's all right.
No worries.
Hello, my name is Carl Berger. I currently live in Anchorage. I'm a 60-year resident of Alaska, spending most of that time in the rural part of the state, various jobs and opportunities. I'm here to briefly talk about a couple of things that are on my mind lately. The first one is one of our oil companies in this state, who's been here now for 10 years or so, continues to operate in Alaska without contributing any taxes to our government, and that's Hillcore. I drive by their building in Midtown. I see this huge building with their name on the roof, and I'm wondering, how is it that a company that's so big and is employing people in our state, presumably people who live here and not commute here, not paying any taxes for the privilege of earning their money? I think that needs to be corrected, and I know some of you have worked on it in the past, but I would encourage you to keep this in mind. We need funds to operate our state. Yes, the price of oil's gone up just recently, but that's no guarantee it's going to stay up, so that's not a solution. I really feel that Hillcore and Mr. Hildebrand need to address this and come up with a workable solution that's beneficial to all Alaskans in our state. That could even help the PFD. That's not one of my priorities, but I know it is for many people in the state. The other issue I wanted to bring up, as many people probably will, is education. We really have a need to take care of our young people in the state, from elementary school, through high school, through college, vocational schools, everything. And we need to prepare our people to be able to get the jobs that are available here in Alaska. That's my 2 minutes. Glad to talk to you. Maybe I'll see you in Juneau next winter.
Thank you. I'm going to use the podium here. My name is Greg Brailsford. I live in Fairview, so I live in the district of Mr. Fields, Representative Fields, and Senator Tobin. I don't know all of you. I know some of you. Some of you know my siblings, Senator Gray Jackson, you know my sister. And my father knew Representative Josephson's father quite well back in the day. I'm here to speak in favor of continued full funding for education and the defined benefit retirement system, because teachers are a central part of the education system, and we need them to get a good retirement system so that they'll stay and continue and build on the experience that we have in them, as well as recruiting new teachers. Mr. House Speaker, Majority House Speaker, and esteemed members of the Alaska delegation, thank you for taking the time to talk with us today. Thank you also to the Chancellor for UAA. I'm a proud graduate of UAA, so I really appreciate the university, the role that the university plays in Anchorage. I'm going to speak about the BSA. For the first 7 years of the current governor's tenure, the BSA was basically 5,960. Then it went up to 5,990 over a 7-year period. That's $4 a year. $4 a year. That will buy you a loaf of bread in Nome right now. Now, it went up in the most recent year, but not because the governor wanted to do it. He fought it tooth and nail. He vetoed it 3 times. And many of the esteemed representatives were courageous enough to vote to override that veto and give us more money. But still, we need even more money than that. To stay current with inflation from 2011, the BSA would have to be about $7,700, whereas now it's about $6,660. Well, okay, so thank you to those of you who are supporting the full funding of education and the defined benefit retirement for teachers as well as public workers. You're fighting the good fight, you're running the good race, and you're keeping our faith in taking care of and protecting our school children and make sure they have a good education and that the future of our state continues to grow with young people getting a good education and coming along. Thank you.
Could numbers 3 and 4 raise their numbers?
In the interest of fairness, let's try to stick to the 2-minute warnings. Thank you.
Oh boy, here we go. Hi, I'm Susan Ritter. I live in South Anchorage. Mia Costello and Matt Kleeman are my representatives. I have to take off my glasses so I can read this. First of all, I would like to thank you and acknowledge the importance of the Anchorage legislatures for coming here and holding this forum. It is a time-honored tradition, and I appreciate it. I think all of the public appreciates it, and I wish our federal government legislators would also do the same thing. Now to my concerns. I'm a high school special education teacher. I have supported the BSA since the beginning of my career as a teacher 19 years ago. And I remember when Elise and all the other great people, Dina and all the other folks started the Great Alaska Schools. We've been fighting for years. Please continue supporting education. Where are we going to get this money? Well, there's a little company called AIDEA that seems to be sitting on $600 million of savings. Heard that you might be taking about $100 million of that. I'd say take a little bit more. That would be really great. I would also suggest that you be very careful about where you've been asked by one representative, federal representative, to support the LNG pipeline without understanding really where all the money is going to come to pay for it, since we're in a war and we have lots of issues with imports. So be wary. Hold on, I gotta turn the page. Lastly, I read in the paper that the governor, I'll take that for me, would like to increase funding for the prison system, which I think is a good idea. The number of prisoners here in Alaska is approximately 5,000 individuals incarcerated. The number of students is 132,000 students in the state of Alaska. Stop. It costs $82,000 to $93,000 per prisoner. It costs to educate a student $17,000 to $22,000. There's something wrong here. And lastly, support the public education, support freedom of speech. If I hold up a sign and say, that says something that's not nice, that you don't, or that disagree with the public's opinion, I still have a right as a public person and speech to use that information. So support the Constitution.
Ma'am, we have to stick to 2 minutes.
Thank
Everybody
you.
deserves a chance.
I'm William Baxter. I'm from Fairview, and I volunteer for FFA and 4-H and whatever else they can get me into. I see agriculture in Alaska. I get a lot of emails. I see it growing every week, and we have 4 chapters, FFA chapters here in Anchorage. FFA means Future Farmers of America, and I see it growing. But a lot of people don't understand. When I got started volunteering at FFA, I didn't realize it was a high school thing, so I didn't know really what to target. Like 4-H is not in high schools and junior highs, and so I know more what to target now. And the Alaska State FFA convention is in April next month. I think it's the 14th through the 17th. But if anybody would like to go to the FFA convention, it's a great thing to learn, because I can tell you all about what FFA is about, but till you go to the state convention, you're hooked. And I am, the FFA kids call me Sticker Bill. The first time I ever put stickers on my shirt, I was wearing just agriculture shirts, but then I started putting stickers on it. And the FFA kids call me Sticker Bill. And I go places, and they just call me Sticker Bill. I'm Sticker Bill. And you see, a lot of people see my trucks outside. I have 2, a red one and a blue one. They got all stickers on it. And I'm home today making more stickers. I'm going to for the FFA kids. I'm buying stickers, and so they can put stickers on their shirts. Thank you.
Could we get 5 and 6 to raise their numbers?
Well, I'm Laura Moy, and I'm from East Anchorage, and I just have a question. What will be done for the people who do not have a copy of their birth certificate so they can get a real ID? I worked for the government for a long time, and I know there's a Bureau of Vital Statistics. There's a lot of people that don't know about things like this, and some were born in the territory, and some are in the bush, and there are even people in Anchorage that were born in the territory. So I'm concerned about that. Is BVS, are they going to get together with DMV and help these people be able to get a real ID? Because we've put it off, I think, for like a year now or something, and I think somebody needs to help these people if they're not able to do that.
Hi, I'm Christian, and I am an Anchorage school district teacher living in District 14. I've been with ASD for 11 years now. And I can tell you as an 26-year educator, but 11 years in ASD, that every single year in ASD is worse than the year before. And this is not the Anchorage School District's fault. I can tell you that at Polaris, where I currently teach, we teach 10% more students with 25% less staff. And this is common throughout the school district. Almost 300 educators this year have either left or submitted their resignations because they are tired of it. We are not about to reach a crisis. We are in the middle of an educator crisis right now. And you need to be doing everything you possibly can to retain the educators you have and attract them here. And one of the biggest things that you can do is require members of our Alaska Society to pay for the support of our Alaska Society. It is beyond past time to implement an income tax. Norway, which has arguably the biggest and best sovereign wealth fund in the entire world, also requires their citizens to pay an income tax. And if Norway can do it, we can do it as well. Thank you.
Could I have 7 and 8 raise their numbers?
Hello, Sky Nevada, small business owner and president of the UAA Alumni Association, West Anchorage resident, lifelong Alaskan, District 16 and H. First, thank you so much for your continued support of UAA and the entire UA system. You're literally standing in a UAA building, making sure this is taking place, so thank you so much for your continued support. Over 30% of staffers and legislators are UAA alums. That's really amazing. And hopefully that number will continue to grow as enrollment this year is up by double digits. And we have a wait list of over 400 students for housing on campus. That's also pretty amazing. That means that we need to continue to support higher education. We need to support the Board of Regents' proposal and budget, and we also need to refund and replenish the HIFE fund. We need to make sure that we get those scholars to stay here with the Alaska Performance Scholarships, keep local students here, keep the workforce here. Thank you so much for your support of UAA and the whole UA system. And last but not least, I'm gonna make you do a Sparky selfie with me. You know it, you all have done it with me before, guys. Oh, it's so far away. Okay, you know what? Hold on, I'm gonna run up there. I still have a minute, right? I still have a minute. Do it.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for being here. Over here. My name's Megan McBride. I'm here with my 6-year-old Owen. He's a kindergartner this year, and he's learning how to read and write and loves math. And I'm here to ask you to stand up for public education. I'm really concerned that our state has been driving our public education system into the ground. We used to attract some of the best educators in the country, and today many of them are leaving. And the ones who are here are being overworked. Support staff, we don't have as many support staff positions. We don't have as many specials like art and music. And our educators are really being stretched thin. There's a lot of misinformation going around about public school funding right now, so I have a couple of facts I'd like to share. First, thank you to most of you who voted for the override of the BSA last year. I really appreciate it. But years of inflation have meant that in order to be back where we were for spending power at 2011, we would need to raise the BSA by an additional $1,400 this year. The $630 proposed by House Education is a good start. And a 2023 study by ICER shows that Alaska's per student spending is 15% below the national average when you take costs of living into account. And a 2025 study by Georgetown shows that we rank last among all the states in cumulative education spending relative to inflation. Thank you.
Could I have 9 and 10 raise their numbers?
So my name is Linda, and I'm from the Campbell neighborhood. The neighborhood's in an uproar over the closure of the Campbell STEM Elementary School. And anyhow, a few different points. One, I think it's really important to fund the public schools. I'm a proud 1980 East High graduate. I know myself and my classmates have all had tremendous opportunities, and that should be true for every generation, not just those of us who came when there was a little more revenue. And that gets us to revenue, and that the state of Alaska has to step up to the plate and not continue to pretend that we can be the only state in the entire union that doesn't need to have a statewide tax. Part of being a citizen, we get services, but we also have to contribute for those services that we receive, and we can't get by anymore. We're already scraping the barrel, and our services have eroded, not just education, but in many other areas. And one thing that I would like to say for the Anchorage delegation is that I hope that when there's issues that are very specific to Anchorage, that you work across the aisle and work in a united way to bring things for Anchorage, because it's the largest city in the state. We shouldn't get second or third class services. And one thing that I think resonates probably with everybody in this room is that the plowing of state roads in the Anchorage area is very poor. Most people don't know that Tudor Road, Diamond Boulevard, Abbott, A Street, C Street, Benson, Northern Lights, those are all state roads. But the way the state of Alaska goes about snow plowing with their reduced budget is they do the Glen Highway and they do the Seward Highway. And then they get to Anchorage, but they get to Anchorage like 3 or 4 days after a big snow dump. So I think that the Anchorage delegation needs to insist that there's better plowing here in the Anchorage Road. And I think if you even got some data, you could check into that on accidents after snowstorms to identify that the cost benefit of doing a better job in Anchorage is well worth it.
I think I can do this. Okay, good afternoon. My name is Callie Lessons. I stand before you today as a parent and as a member of the school board, and with a cup and spoon in my hand. Why do I have a cup and spoon in my hand? They are empty, that's why. I've been thinking a lot about Oliver Twist, Charles Dickens' novel from almost 200 years ago. There's a pivotal moment where young Oliver goes and approaches the master of the workhouse after he and his peers have been fed starvation wages for 3 months. He draws the short end of the stick and has to go say, "Please, sir, I want some more." I stand before you today on behalf of our students saying, "Please, sir and ma'am, I want some more." I want some more for our students because I just had the worst month of my life on the Anchorage School Board. I cut 10%, along with the other members of the board, of ASD's workforce. Those are our friends. Those are our neighbors. Those are our kids' teachers. Those are the people who support our gifted, blind, deaf, hard of hearing students. They provide special education services. 250 classroom teaching positions. Please, sir, I want some more because I'm going to be back on the board in February next year cutting $42 million. And the way that my cycle works, I'm going to be back on the board the year after that cutting $30 million more. It is inexcusable how the state has funded education in Alaska. I appreciate the chance to speak before you today. You guys are education champions many, many times over. but you have to dig deep. Amidst all of the devastation in our last budget cycle, I identified cuts as low as $1.67 per student to claw back nurses and teaching positions. I expect you to do the same. Please, I want some more.
Could I have 11 and 12 raise their numbers?
Good afternoon. I'm Paul McDonough, standing here as a parent, Chugiak resident. So Sadler and Merrick, thank you for being here. And I am a candidate for the school board and trying to follow here Kelly's impassioned speech. Obviously, I'm here to say that this underfunding of our schools is unacceptable. And I think I'm speaking to the choir when I say that. So I appreciate that this voice has been shared by all of you. I want to bring attention to a list of states that Alaska now has something in common with, or may have something in common with. Florida, Texas, Oklahoma, Montana, New Hampshire, Arizona, Louisiana, South Carolina are schools that have mandated from the top down a statewide civics program, and that's something that I saw unanimous consent through the Senate recently and will be reaching the House soon. Those are also states that Alaska doesn't compare with when you look at, they have a teacher pension and we don't. They have a fiscal plan that supports education funding and we don't. They have a budget cycle where they know their funds when municipalities have to lock in their budgets, and we don't. So this legislature, I think what I'm asking is, although go increase the BSA, that's your first job, but keep innovating and understanding that we will innovate at the local level when we have the resources to do it. We want to teach civics education as much as you do, and for these initiatives to come through from the top down goes against Alaska's constitution, which mandates local control. So tell your colleagues who are public education haters, we will increase results when the resources are brought to our classrooms. Because the only complaint that feels like it holds any water is education is failing, so why would I put money into a failing system? It isn't failing, it's starving. And instead of more mandates from the top, I would ask everyone to say, let's set the grassroots, let's till the soil, and let's support our teachers first. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Karen Lindley. I have been living in Anchorage since 1996. I am indigenous from Costa Rica and has been living here for a very long time. And I got involved later on in my life to do some volunteer services for different entities and nonprofits for many years. My passion is into healing. And then doing the volunteer services, I realized something. There is two problems with that. First of all, it's not sustainable. And also, reality speaking, talking about my own experiences for many years working with different nonprofits, working with people doing the stuff through nonprofits, I realized that being a volunteer is a slavery system that is designated and is in place for a broken system that doesn't provide even sometimes the needs for the volunteer network, because sometimes we overlooking the needs from the volunteer network that we have. And the volunteer system also are going through hard times behind doors, going hungry, having mental issues, feeling sick and being sick because it's overwhelming to what everybody's going through. And we need to address that through the nonprofit. That's one aspect that I wanted to share. And I'm talking my experience myself, suffering behind doors in different ways and trying to be a human, a human person to touch people. So the other thing is that we need to have a better system to take care of the indigenous and native people, and my passion is into healing, and what we have is not broken. What we have is broken. I cannot create a healing system if they don't have a place to stay 24/7, when they are not going to be throwing out because humans that are suffering, and especially the Native people and indigenous people and other communities that I am serving. They are not numbers, they are not boxes. We are humans. We deserve better.
Could I have numbers 13 and 14 raise their numbers?
Thank you. My name is Rachel Posey, and thank you for being here today and listening to your constituents. First of all, I want to thank you all for the BSA increase that you approved last year, except unfortunately for my representative, Mia Costello, who did not vote for the override. Our schools are still way behind where we need to be, and although we appreciate that increase they received, as others have stated, we are not caught up with where inflationary increases should put us. I benefited from a strong Alaska public school system when I graduated from Juneau Douglas High School, and I want all of our children today to have that same opportunity. Public education is one of the most important investments that we can make in Alaska's future. Strong schools will support strong communities and prepare the next generation of Alaskans to work here. Our educators and school staff are working incredibly hard, but they cannot continue to do so with more, or to do more with less every year. Students across Alaska deserve stable, predictable funding that allows districts to retain great teachers and provide programs that kids need to succeed. There are lots of, increasing the BSA is one thing. I think it's also worth looking at having automatic inflationary adjustments and possibly changing the formula. I believe right now Mat-Su is receiving a greater amount per student due to a rural adjustment, which may not be appropriate at this time. So there are a lot of things that can be done to be looked at, but across the state, districts are facing major challenges. It's not just Anchorage, and I appreciate all of the work that those of you who are supporting education are putting into this. Thank you for taking the time to listen.
Thank you. My name is Dawn Morse. I live in Mountain View, and I read a commentary last week in the Anchorage Daily News. Can you not hear me? Sorry. My name is Dawn Morse. I'm a member of the Mountain View community, and I'm a grants consultant. I read a commentary last week in the Anchorage Daily News by an amazing writer who brought up problems with the system in supporting missing and murdered Indigenous women. Her name is Laura Lee Ivanoff. It was very compelling. I encourage you to read that. I forwarded her letter to our assembly and the mayor and asked them to do something about that. We need to be able to protect these young women and all people that are missing. There's three main things. I think that this should come from the state. It should not just be the city. We need to have a published, publicly accessible database listing people who are currently missing in the community. It should be there. 2, perform an outside audit and external review on police departments and troopers' policies and procedures regarding missing cases. And 3, establish a dedicated missing persons unit to reduce the time that people remain missing. Thank you.
Could I have number 15 and 16?
Thank you. Good evening, and thank you so much for this opportunity. I'm Dr. Pete Muse. I've been a public health physician in this community for 45 years. I'm also past president on several occasions with the Rogers Park Community Council. When we arrived in 1973, we willingly paid an income tax, and I believe there was even a $100 per head tax dedicated to education. We are, ladies and gentlemen, a failing state. Let me repeat that. We are a failing state. We have outmigration. We have ever more decreasing opportunities for our young people. We are a failing state. We cannot permit this to continue. For our kids, health and education, opportunities for all, for ferries, for our universities, and universal vaccinations for everyone without exemptions. Universal vaccinations for everyone without exemptions. Please, ladies and gentlemen. Please tax me. Tax me. Income tax, sales tax, gas tax. Eliminate subsidies for big oil and our mining companies. Tax them to the maximum. Tax them to the maximum, even equal to some of the redder states, North Dakota, for example. Tax them now, without delay. And that includes, of course, as the gentleman said, Hillcorp. Please, 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 ladies and gentlemen, rescue us from this failing state. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Mike Bronson from Spenard. My daughter's graduated from West High School. Thanks for keeping school funding at the top of your priorities in Juneau, in spite of all the shiny distractions. As you know, your constitutional duty calls for you as legislators to help Anchorage students do much better in school than they are. The legislature, you should know, first will meet the Constitution only when a substantial majority of students meets the state standards in reading, math, and science. And secondly, you'll meet the Constitution when every school-aged child in Anchorage gets the opportunity to meet those standards, regardless of circumstances with the state or with the child. The best thing you can do in the short term is to pass House Bill 374. The next thing you can do is to ask the school districts to show in detail exactly how much revenue would give all of its students what they deserve under the Constitution's Education Clause. Something like ASD's Budget Amendment 1 last year by Kelly Lessons. How else would you even know how much to allocate to schools for your own compliance with the Constitution as legislators? For the school districts to propose that kind of a legal budget is exactly the due process that the new lawsuit is asking for. Fairbanks and Cuspbuck school districts are now suing that the state's funding effort does not respect the rights of students to an education because the state makes no effort to calculate, and therefore you have no idea how much school revenue those students' rights will take. Thank you.
Could I have 17 and 18 raise their numbers?
Thank you. I'm Cal Williams. I'm in District 19. I'll reserve my time to talk about my district because it's so well represented by Representative Mina and Senator Dunbar. They're doing a wonderful job, so I'm not going to beat them up or tell them what to do. Rather, I'll reserve my time. Oh, I also want to say that I've been involved in politics and, really, that fast? For such a long time, it goes all the way back to having worked for Senator Joe Josephson and attending the bar mitzvah of Andy Josephson here. He did a marvelous job. But I want to talk about the people who aren't here today, and they're not here because they can't be here. They are incarcerated. Those in our prisons and those in our jails. As speaker number 3 referred to a need for increase in funding to the Department of Corrections, and this morning Senator Kawasaki was talking about the budget for corrections, but I'd like to talk about where that money is being spent. We call it corrections. That's what we should do, correct behavior. We destroyed correctional industries. We are warehousing people, those 5,000 people that she talked about in jail. I visit Spring Creek Correctional Facility every year and do a Christmas concert. And they're constantly telling me that they would prefer having more books in their library and more rehabilitation. We want to bring down recidivism. We want to bring back citizens who are productive and giving to our community rather than taking and vilifying or victimizing us. If we don't, we are constantly repeating the cycle of people coming in, going back, etc. So please look into the budget, make sure that corrections is spending more money on correcting behavior, rehabilitation, and bringing back good citizens.
Hello, and thank you for hosting this opportunity today. My name is Polly Carr. I've lived in South Anchorage for 22 years, and my daughter is a freshman in the Anchorage School District. I'm here to ask for your leadership for our schools and our future. Thank you for voting to override the veto of increasing the base student allocation last year, but we need to adjust the BSA every year. Last year's increase only amounted to $20 from the previous year after loss of one-time funds. To those who say we can't keep giving schools more money, we haven't been. Our schools are starving. ASD has an $88 million budget cut they're facing. Rural schools face broken water, sewer systems, leaky roofs, and mold. State spending for education lags inflation by 23% over 15 years. State spending on corrections is up 54% since 2019, while spending on education is only up 12%. Why do we fund our prisons more than our schools? Please ensure the legislature meets its constitutionally obligated responsibility to fund public education. In addition, early childhood funding is a critical upstream protective factor and the foundation of every child's success in school. Please ensure $5.72 million is included in the FY27 operating budget for the Infant Learning Program. My husband runs a small business, and every week he comes home with stories of customers who are leaving the state because of funding cuts to our schools. Are we just going to sit here and watch them leave? I've heard people ask for better outcomes for education, but we're not going to see those outcomes until we provide adequate and sustained funding. Thank you.
Could I have 19 and 20 raise their numbers?
Good afternoon. Trevor Storrs speaking to you as a citizen of Anchorage today. If you've been hearing today more money, I encourage you to listen deeper. What people are asking for today is a change around the culture and the framework that you're looking at our state. They're asking you to invest early. It has the best return on investment. The economics show it. The research shows it. If you can do a supplemental budget for $24 million for the Department of Corrections, just imagine what prevention work could do with $24 million. I ask you to do the match. If they can walk in with a supplemental and it gets approved, I encourage all the school districts to also just do a supplemental and do what they need to do. Fair is fair. We need to truly invest. What we're asking is not for more money. We're asking you to change the framework that you're looking at this. Let's get $13, $14 of investment on every dollar versus when we do $24 million into corrections, you actually get less than $1 back. Now, we still need to invest there because we have invested less in our children and families. The Alaska Children's Budget shows that we, over the past 10 years, have decreased our investment in children and families by 15%. So nobody can ask, why are our numbers, why do our kids, 1/3, only meet kindergarten readiness? Why are they not graduating at the level? Why is our juvenile justice system seeing increases? It's because how we invest. If you invest in peas but expect carrots, don't be shocked that you get peas. That's how simple it is. We need to invest in the children and families today because tomorrow it's only going to get darker. Thank you.
For coming from rainy Juneau to snowy Anchorage today to listen to us. My name is Cindy Keinert, and I'm in Kai Holland's district and Senator Giesel's district, and I hope they're listening, but I hope y'all are listening even more. This is a plea to ask y'all to pass Mr. Kawasaki's Senate Bill 102 and Mr. Holland's HB 2029 to eliminate daylight savings times forever and stay permanently on what is currently known as Alaska Standard Time. This plea is adapted from Neil Sedaka's Breaking Up is Hard to Do. Comma, comma, down, doobie, doobie, down. Comma, comma, down, doobie, down, down, down. Waking up is hard to do. Don't take our sleep away from us. Don't leave our brains in grogginess. If you do, they'll turn to goo, 'cause waking up is hard to do. Remember, when we're on standard time, we get to sleep so sublime. And think of all we now go through, 'cause waking up early is so hard to do.
Could I have 21 and 22 raise their numbers, please?
Hi, I'm Cheryl Lovegreen, District 16H. First, thanks to the 23 Anchorage and Eagle River Chugiak legislators who voted to override HB 57. We really appreciate that. Unfortunately, we need more help. HB 374 would add more to the BSA so we can catch up to the national average and keep our schools functioning. Of course, more money would be even better, but if that's where we have to start, I support that. Also, HB 78 will create a better retirement plan for public employees, including teachers. And if you need to tax me, please do. I also support HB 238, the Freedom to Read bill, to protect librarians in public and school libraries. Please consider these bills, and thank you for your service.
I'm Ann Rappaport, and thank Representative Holland and Senator Giesel for representing my area, and I thank all of you for this annual opportunity where you listen to your constituents, unlike our governor. Last year, you heard about the desperate need to increase the BSA. You responded positively and persevered to overcome a veto. Thank you. Unfortunately, it's not enough. ASD faces an $80 to $90 million deficit. Other Alaska school districts face proportionally similar deficits, causing classroom sizes to balloon, and maintenance and repair work is not done. We need to improve education funding for our children, our future. I urge you to support HB 374 for a $630 BSA increase. We need more, and add a clause for annual inflation adjustments. A recent excellent opinion piece in ADN was by two longtime teachers. Both had been Teachers of the Year. One was a national teacher finalist. They grew up, were raising their children here, but loss of financial and leadership support for public education, unrelenting demands on our teachers with ever-increasing class sizes, and lack of a fair retirement finally got to them. They're leaving. They're but two of the tremendous experience, brain, and talent drain we're losing with years of paltry education support. My kids graduated from ASD in 2008 and 2011 after great educations, with opportunities for enrichment programs like Ignite, a wide range of sports, art, and music, and reasonably sized classrooms, and robust special ed programs. I'm sad that many of today's students cannot have these same opportunities. We've stretched our teachers beyond what's decent and sustainable. I want to support HB 263, the operating budgets, additions it includes for very essential services, caregivers, food bank, foster care, as well as the school increases, and then get to work on revenue. We need a progressive income tax, we need to tax S-corps, we need to tax online sales. With a progressive income tax, we may afford a modest PFD, but it's best to leave sales taxes to local municipalities. The current increase in oil prices is temporary. It may help us this year. Do not let it distract you from implementing revenue measures and a real fiscal plan. You get what you pay for. We haven't paid for much, and we're not getting much. Let's turn that around and make Alaska the truly special, amazing place it was when I came here nearly 50 years ago. Thank you.
Thank you. Could we have 23 and 24 raise their numbers? 23 and 24?
Yeah, good afternoon. Jason Norris, District 11F, Service High, UAA, and APU grad, and president of Huffman O'Malley Community Council. I've engaged a few of you on housing, and I'm told often that it's a local issue, but housing keeps our young people here, develops a homegrown workforce, gives families a way to grow and seniors a way to downsize and stay in their neighborhoods, provides economic opportunity and lifestyle choices for people, and it grows local and sometimes state revenues. That sounds like a state issue to me. And so what I'm asking is that you amend AS 29.40.030 and 040. That simply requires municipalities and boroughs to implement land use when the legally required ordinance adopting their land use plans is adopted. We're already requiring them to adopt it via ordinance. It would be a zero cost to implement the zoning at the same time. This isn't the state seizing control. I know that's a big issue for you, and I understand that. This is simply holding municipalities and boroughs to account to the people that inform the plans. As a local issue, a local example is Anchorage. Our comprehensive plan is 25 years old. We're trying to implement a plan with an understanding of Anchorage that is 25 years old. We cannot bring the new science, the new understanding of land use that we have today. We can't get that into action because we have to follow something so old. So please, if we had implemented this all 25 years ago, we could be talking about the next plan and the Anchorage we want to see today. But we're beholden to a quarter-century old vision. So please help us. Please amend that. And I'm happy to talk to any of you if you'd like. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Kevin Heller, and I live in Midtown, and I want to thank Elise and the District G legislative staff. I moved to this great state in 2020 as an AmeriCorps volunteer, making $16,000 a year, and after serving as a Peace Corps volunteer for 2 years, where I met my spouse who moved here from Mexico in 2024. I invite you to participate by raising your hand. How many of you live in a home that was built in the 1970s? Please raise your hand. Keep your hands raised. The 1980s. The 1990s. 77% of the housing stock in this city is built before 2000, and mine was built in 1982. I live in a 1,058 square foot condo in Midtown that I bought in 2023. I recently got quotes because my husband and I joke that the water heater is as old as I am, 33 years old in the house. And so I went to go get it replaced, and I got a quote, and the quote was for $5,000 to $6,000 from 3 different vendors across the city, and that is because the prices have soared for replacing things in our homes. And that has also extended out to other things that are for renewable energy and other home efficiency products we can put in our homes. I also got an estimation for a water on demand system, $13,000 to $15,000 to install in my 1,058 square foot condo. Less than 10 years ago, my neighbor with the same condo was able to install the same system from the same company, from one of the companies I got a quote from, for $6,000. So what I'm asking you, thank you, what I'm asking you is, I know recently that the state of Alaska was given $74 million for a home energy rebate, and there's only one available for new construction. But what I'd love to hear is that if you give the money back to the people, and I have a radical idea, you give the money to the people, or at least incentives to be able to customize and build our homes that we love so that we can actually put in energy efficient plumbing or electric, change our panels, change our windows so that we can survive those cold snaps that we've experienced this winter. Thank you very much.
Could I have 25 and 26 raise their numbers?
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Maria Williams, and I'm a faculty member here at the University of Alaska Anchorage. I've been teaching here for 15 years. I live in Fairview. Anchorage is my hometown, so thank you, Senator Tobin and Representative Fields. I know you both very well. Thank you all for coming today and hearing our testimony. I want to talk briefly about the University of Alaska system, of course, which includes Fairbanks and Juneau and numerous community campuses. So currently, our Board of Regents, right, they have 8-year terms are appointed by the governor. Some of our regents, there's no term limit, so some of our regents have been on there for like 30 years. And then currently, all of the regents, even the ones that have been reappointed under our current governor, who clearly is very anti-education. This has been very damaging to the university. and they have adopted President Trump's verbiage to get rid of any diversity, equity, inclusion. So what is this going to do? Now we're asked as faculty to change our faculty evaluation guidelines. So this is promotion and tenure. This hits curriculum. What happens to classes in women and gender studies, Alaska Native studies, history, political science? So I do think that we should have a faculty regent. There's a current bill. We have a student regent. I actually support a staff regent. Regents need to just have their 1 8-year term. This is ridiculous. And maybe at some point in the future, a radical lift that perhaps some regents could be voted on like school board members are. Thank you so much for your time. And thank you, young pages.
Good afternoon. My name's Dave Hansen. I'm a 50-year resident of Anchorage in Alaska. And today I want to just briefly talk about money. We have a war oil price premium, or bonus, that some people are getting very excited about. This bonus may be $100 million that we end up with. We have no idea, because this bonus has to do with the Iran war, which may be 1 week, 1 day, 1 year, 2 years. It's something you can't depend on. So you need to look at a bonus like you normally look at a bonus, wisely. We have a risk. We're in for leaner times ahead of us. 30% of our oil income will decrease despite more oil production as we open these new fields in Prudhoe Bay, because of our tax system is set that you can take off the cost of development up front, which is fine, but it means we're going to have more oil but less income. We have the permanent fund investment income, which provides for 60% of our general fund. That's what we use to fund our roads, schools, state troopers, everything. Right now, the stock market is extremely unstable. No one knows where it will be in 6 months or a year from now, and yet we're dependent upon the stock market. Fortunately, our permanent fund is very wisely invested, but still, the chances are its income could go down. So how do we spend this bonus, 100 million or so or whatever, wisely? FY26, we're going to have a $500 million supplemental deficit. Is that really 2 minutes? I want to say two things in real quick, because we have deficits ahead of us. And what we should do with the money is either use the extra money for the deficits or put it in the budget reserve so we have it for the lean years that are ahead of us. The other things is there's other income that bits and pieces help right now. The digital tax, give me two sentences.
Thank you, sir. We're a little past the halfway point in this, and other folks want to talk too.
I'll just say one thing, please. General S corporation corporate income tax can provide 90 to 100 million, which is
Excuse
what
me,
the
sir.
Anchorage School District needs.
Just for all those who have more to say than 2 minutes will allot, you can submit written comments, so you can submit a whole lot more. We're only holding the 2 minutes because we need everybody to have a chance. Thank you.
Could we have numbers 27 and 28?
Hello, I'm Yasmin. I'm from Fairview, and I'm very supportive of the Work and Save Act. Thank you. And the pension and defined benefits bill. Just like we need to care for our young people and education, we also need to care for our older Alaskans who have built everything that we rely on. We have around 200 senior assisted living homes in Alaska out of nearly 800. We have a disparity in reimbursement rates, and I just would really implore that you listen to the experts, the clinicians, the providers with great track records like Turnagain Social Club here in Anchorage, the only nursing level of care of an adult day in the whole state and one of the top 10 in the country. Alaska Independent Care Coordination. You know, I don't see the innovation and quality, accountability really that I would like to see. And there are people who have the answers to save money, to actually help make that happen and improve our systems fragmentation, as well as, you know, like the reimbursement rate issue. Our group homes make double what senior homes make, and there's a lot of gaps. There were good things in the Guidehouse Long-Term Support Services study, but there are some significant gaps as well, and assisted living was not discussed. Transportation, I think we're still waiting on that separate study that they said they were going to release. I'm supportive of tax, especially during tourism season. It's a no-brainer. And I wanted to just say thank you, Representative Zach Fields, for your courage and bravery, and I agree, ICE out. So thanks.
Hello, I'm Adrienne Canino. I'm in New Napa Valley. I'm here to say, well, thank you, first of all, for all your hard work. And then I'm here to say, please support the Freedom to Read bill. That's not only really important to prevent criminalizing our professionals, who we need to retain in these crazy times, but also because freedom to read is an important part of our First Amendment rights, right? Yes. Thank you. Yes. The second thing I want to speak to is the data center bill, HB 259. Hello, Representative Mears. We've already talked a little, and I will talk some more. But I think broadly, I want to say that I don't think a community benefit agreement is enough, although it is an excellent and hopeful starting place for any such large energy users in our communities, like a data center. I think it's really important that we consider the long term of inviting this kind of industry to Alaska, especially when other places are putting moratoriums on such an industry. I don't think Alaskans have any more desire for an extractive industry to come in and do what they will with our land and our water and our air pollution, our air quality, without considering the whole human cost. And I do mean the whole human cost of what these data centers do. I work at a data science firm here in Anchorage, and I can speak to the very high need of servers to run cool math, to do cool things, absolutely pro about that. And then I just want to say it's a no-brainer to say these big tech companies are obviously abusing that. Because we don't want a server here in Alaska to help a drone target a school somewhere else in the world. So I'm just going to ask that we not chase the next bubble economy and instead build for ourselves. Thank you.
Can I have 29 and 30 raise their numbers? 29 and 30?
Hi there. My name's Jordis Clark. I'm in District 15 and H. Hi, Mia. Matt's not here. I want to talk about, I've heard several people refer to it, statewide income tax. I think we should be doing it. We used to do it. We used to pay a school tax. But we should also couple that with the price of oil. As oil is really high, perhaps the tax rate is lower. And if oil's really low, our tax rate could go up. And yet, it's all going to be the same. We're just spending a lot here, we're spending a lot there, but it all washes out the same. So that's my proposal. Here in Anchorage, we have demonstrated year after year that we are willing to pay for what we want as we pass those bonds every year. It's for the lifestyle that we want here. So, Anchorage legislators, don't be afraid of taxing us. We're willing to pay for what we want and what we need. So let's tie our income tax to the price of oil, have them kind of go up and down like that. Thanks a lot. And I have 1 minute left. I'm going to turn it over to my husband, Art.
Thank you. I'm Art Clark, lifelong Alaskan, refugee from Fairbanks. I just want to say I hope the legislature is going to be taking some action with our Lieutenant Governor for sharing our confidential information with the U.S. government. I would also like to say that the higher oil prices is a two-edged sword, because the stock market is getting crushed, and that's our permanent fund and our long-term money, and that's going down.
Hi there. Okay, sorry. I'm Shelley. I'm from East Anchorage and 21 and K. Hi, Bill. Ted's not here. Ted and Bill, love you guys. Anyway, here we go. I'm going to make this really quick, as quick as I possibly can. I remember being, and I'm going to give my age here, but anyway, I remember here being here when BP, Exxon, Arco, everybody, all of the oil companies were here. We gave our ass away in tax possibilities that we could have had. We are now paying the price because it's not in our coffers. So we have to accept some of that as voters. Some of the voting people in the legislature and in some of the things that were put out for us to vote on as voters, we blew it. So now we've got to figure a way to make sure that things get paid for. I'm all for taxing. You know, as much as I hate it, I don't like taxes any more than anybody else, but it's time for Hillcorp to pay theirs. It's got to happen. Should have been happening all along with BP, Exxon, and Arco. So, okay, I'm done on that one. Voting. I don't want my info going to the feds. Thank you, sir. I really appreciate that. They don't have any use for that other than to use it for nefarious purposes as far as I'm concerned. Number 3, education funding. Okay, I'm done. Please, please, please do what you can. You guys are amazing. You nailed it last time. Thank you. Okay, where are we? Representative Mears, thank you for your newsletter. I'm very grateful for that. I do want to say, and I know that this has nothing to do with you all, and I think I may have seen my rep up here on the Anchorage board. Anyway, I'm very nervous about the current possibility of where it's going to be. I really think we need to look at that, the Muldoon Transit Center that's going in. Taxes, yes, I hate them just like everybody else, but, and oh, HB 78. Okay, thanks.
Could I have 31 and 32 raise their numbers?
Thank you. My name is Pat Higgins, and I'm a member of the Anchorage School Board. I want to thank the legislators and particularly the audience for being here today. Last year when I spoke, I begged you to go ahead and tax me. I do what you have to do it, but I want to switch this time and talk about something a little different. How much do you need? What's adequate funding for education? It's not leftover money for kids. How much do they need to be adequately funded? Our classroom sizes should be 1 to 15 K through 3, 1 to 25 above that, and that comes in from national studies that we've done. We're about $200+ million underfunded in Anchorage. How much do you need for the UAA? How much do you need for corrections? You need a budget that looks at your obligations and then find a source for the fundings. I am tired of not being taxed, not teachers getting paid the way they should be, not having public employees have a defined benefit. The only state in the country where teachers do not have a defined benefit retirement system. We are losing teachers. We have a hard time getting them. Our classroom sizes is critical. The correlation between class sizes and academic outcomes is so well established nationwide in this state. And you're saying we're going to keep cutting funds until things improve, so we get increased by 4 kids in classroom, and then you're going to keep doing it until we improve academic outcomes? That's crazy. This is absolutely nuts. You need to define what is adequate funding. We have that figure for you. We've provided it to the legislators. We've sent that out. We've had it updated. We need a legislature to, you're not going to get where you need to with this governor when it comes to adjustments for school and for other issues that need, but you need to this year establish that. $30 million is not going to do it for Anchorage. It may keep its classroom sizes going up, but it's not adequate and it's not fair to our kids. And being on school board 15 years, this has been the most depressing 2 months that I have ever had in this kids, because I do not like having to choose how we're going to hurt kids. And that's what you're forcing us to do. You need to say what's adequate for everything in the state and then find the source of revenues. Tax me.
Hi, I'm Hannah Wanga, and I'm in second grade. I'm from Taku Campbell. I go to Campbell STEM, and I'm really just mad that they're closing a school because I don't want to go to another school, and I don't want to have to let other kids do this. So please give more money to our schools. Thank you.
Thank you for being here. My name is Chaim Wenger. This is my daughter, Dina. It's always been said, never be scared of raising dragon slayers at the time of dragons. And the morning after they very rapidly and shockingly announced they were closing Campbell STEM, Dina walked downstairs and disappeared for a little while, and at the end came out with this letter. So this is her words, handwritten, that I'm just going to try and read on her behalf, unless you want to. Okay, she wrote this and we forwarded it on to you in the past. Dear Alaska Legislature, please do not close Campbell. I have gone there for my entire education and my background connects to the schoolyard, so it makes it really easy and convenient to get there. I have loved the teacher since the moment I stepped in Campbell STEM. From my kindergarten teacher, Mrs. Davis, to my fourth grade, Mr. Zimmer, they are all funny, kind, helpful, and understanding. I am in fourth grade and I have many friends of my class. I cannot imagine going to different schools from them. Each recess, we play different games from mouse on ground to acting out skits. Me and my bestie, Juliana, have even started creating a new language. How can you tear friendships like that apart, scattering best friends across Anchorage? And whenever I step into the hall, I see posters and teachers embracing, encouraging, and strengthening friendships. Mike Dunleavy is not giving schools enough money and now is planning to shut us down as if it were our fault. We are getting punished for something we did not do and cannot control. And if you do close Campbell, what will the campus turn into? A hotel? A shopping mall? Isn't a place of learning and friendship better instead? If Campbell got closed, every kid would be a new kid, and that's not fun, is it? They would have to restart completely, making new friends and everything. And what about their parents? They might have to miss work to take their kids into the school if they miss the bus. I'm gonna just jump to the end with 6 seconds left. It says, I want to be able to participate in everything for me and my sister. It looks fun. Please do us all a favor and keep Campbell Elementary open.
Could I have 33 and 34 raise their numbers?
Hi, my name is Mike Still. I live in the UMed district. I've been an educator for 18 years, the last 8 here in ASD. I'm here to talk about supporting education. Thank you for overriding the veto, and I hope you support further BSA increases and a defined benefit plan. I agree with all the other testimonies about increasing the BSA, but I'm going to share some outside-of-the-box ideas. You see, I emailed Governor Dunleavy multiple times, and I happily got a real conversation with his team after telling him that his current image is that Dunleavy hates kids. I honestly cannot understand why forcing schools throughout the state to close could be seen as any other way, but maybe some other funding schemes are necessary to avoid his next veto. We need nurses in schools. We have literally spent millions of dollars on security upgrades, but we're willing to let our most important first responder in an emergency leave the building. Thank you, ASD School Board, for working towards that, but that is part of the dilemma. It's part of the budget problem. Can the state directly fund school nurses or sports or other ways to free up BSA money for classroom needs? What about the state directly funding a reading specialist? Link it to the Alaska Reads Act. This could be part of the puzzle. I don't have all the answers. I don't know that anybody does. There's clearly lots of problems. Everyone here that I've heard is here to say, yes, thank you for supporting education. On 4 separate email responses, the governor cited low test scores and keeping education as a status quo as reasons why he doesn't want a BSA increase. Well, low student attendance is a huge reason for low test scores. What can we do to increase student attendance? What about linking a child's PFD to school attendance? Maybe we incentivize schools somehow to increase attendance. All of this will help students. At a minimum, I'd love to see the BSA linked to inflation and continue to grow so that all of our students can get what they need. I'd rather see funds go directly to the schools with that BSA increase. Thank you so much for everything you do.
35 and 36?
Hello, my name is Regan Brooks, and I've lived in Anchorage since 2008. I currently live in 11F. I'm a small business owner, a graduate student at UAA, a former educator, and a mother. Thank you all for taking my testimony, and thank you to everyone who's shown up today. I've heard so much inspiring testimony, and thank you. Love your ideas. I'm here today because I want to ask you to support HB 374 so our schools, our students, and our state can thrive. Personally, I value our schools because of the support they've given so many children, including mine, but I do not value, not even remotely, the ways in which our schools and in turn the students they serve have been dramatically under-supported. My son is currently a 10th grader. My daughter graduated last year. I'm so grateful to their amazing teachers, especially the ones who make room for students when there's literally not enough space at the tables. I also want to give a special shout out to the English teachers. Can you imagine, I used to be a math teacher, so I'm going to take a little math moment. My daughter had 37 students in her junior class, in her junior English class. That teacher had 5 classes, so if he had 37 students in each of the 5 classes, that's a lot of papers to read. So that's too many papers to read. That is 185 papers to read, and it's too many. So what I've seen in the 14 years that I've had children in ASD is, as speaker number 12 wisely noted, starvation. Please provide nourishment. It's vital. Thank you.
I'm going to sit right here. Sure. Okay, my name is Frank Box. I am Anchorage resident since 1959. I've lived here, raised my family here, and went to school here, graduated in 73. And so I'm really vested in this community. And I remember the day that we used to have a state income tax, and we had a school tax that was taken out of my paycheck first thing. It was like $10 or something, but that was back in the 70s. I think we need something like that now. And I also wanted to comment on campaign finance. I really want to support HB 16, and I really appreciate what Calvin's been doing on that. And so please support that. And I was thinking about the state income tax. You could have a PFD offset. So because I worked up on the slope for a lot of years, and I saw a lot of people would just laugh and say, I'm going to just spend $10 at the bar at the airport, and I'm going to take the rest of my money home. And there were people that worked in California, and all the money they earned in the state of Alaska, they paid state income tax in California. And if we had a state income tax here, we could net some of that money. And then the people that don't live here could, or the people that do live here and pay income tax would get an offset from their PFD. Okay, thanks. Anyway, and I'm going to submit some stuff by email, and just keep the faith. And I do appreciate you vetoing the override, or overriding the governor's veto. That took some courage, and not everybody has the courage to do that. Thank you.
37 and 38, could you raise your numbers?
It's okay. Just move our puzzles over. Sounds good.
Okay, I'll go first. Okay.
Hello, my name is Rachel Blakesley, and I am the parent of 2 little girls, the oldest of which is a first grader in the Anchorage School District, and I live in District 9E. My representatives are Kai Holland and Kathy Giesel, and I am here today to beg you and plea to please fund public education. My husband and I made the decision to move here about a decade ago, the really conscious decision to do so. He grew up here, went through the entire ASD system, and had an amazing education and a really incredible upbringing. And that's the kind of upbringing we wanted for our kids, not just the amazing educational opportunities, but the ability to grow up in a place where they could be proximate to wildlife and beautiful landscapes and a really close community where you go to the grocery store and you know your neighbors and run into people that you know everywhere you go. And we have become used to people leaving, coming in and out because of the outmigration and ups and downs of the oil and gas industry. But for the first time, we are now seeing our community members leave because of education. And the community that we worked so hard to build and sacrifice to be here for erode around us. My daughter's first grade class right now, she's projected to go into the second grade next year if there's no additional funding, with a second grade class of 38 kids. 38 children, which is an untenable size to learn anything or expect a teacher to be able to increase student outcomes. The teachers in her school were given a survey about their wants and needs and wishes for next year, and many of them asked for smaller desks so that they could fit more kids into their classroom spaces because they anticipated larger class sizes. I believe in accountability and making our dollars be used effectively, to support student outcomes, but accountability goes both ways, and it has to begin with adequately funding our public schools so they have the resources to produce those outcomes that you want. I'm gonna let my daughter quickly say, do you wanna say it, Lumi? Do you wanna say what you wanna say? Okay, she worked on something really quick, doesn't have the courage to say it, but she's been working on it. She's 4 years old. She's saying all morning, support our schools care about kids.
Hi, can you all hear me? So my name is Shannon Davenport, and I'm a nurse. I'm a psychiatric nurse here at one of our local hospitals, and I'm a hospice nurse. I'm your neighbor. I sit next to you at church. I see you at the grocery store. You may have been my patient. I'm here to talk about healthcare and the crisis we are currently in. Our healthcare system is broken. We're hearing about nurses and burnout. We want to change the script on that and now call it moral injury, because that's what it is. Thank you. We go to work, and I have patient ratios of up to 7 to 8 to 1 patients. So that means I take care of 8 people, which, if anybody knows, you talk about classroom sizes, that's like a 40 classroom size for us. And these are patients we have to make sure that we get them home. We get them home safe and put together and back to their families. So I'm asking people to look at safe staffing, look at what nurses are facing every day. Remember that we leave our families to come take care of yours. And in order to do that, we need education also. We are huge proponents of education. I'm a teacher of nurses. I teach new nurses every day how to be a good nurse and to take care of you effectively. And I am a proud Service High School graduate. My daughter graduated last year, go Service, and is now a proud UAA freshman. And she wouldn't be where she was without increases in our BSA, without the teachers that she had, Miss Blake, Miss Chaussee, all of the teachers who made her into the person she is. So all I ask is support the BSA, support your nurses, talk to your neighbors, talk to them about healthcare and what's really going on in our system. Thank you.
39 and 40.
Hi, thank you for your service, everyone, and thank you everybody in the community for being here. My name is Rona, and I came up with a backpack for the summer when I was 24, and now I'm collecting Medicare. And I've watched the state go from we have so much money we don't know what to do with it to where we are today. Our house is crumbling, our windows are broken, the paint is peeling, and there's just a lot of failing of things like people have said. I want to say the same thing. Tax me, tax me. I don't have kids in the school district. I don't care. I think smart kids are important to grow up in our community. Economically, it's very, very important. I spent 27 years as a realtor in Anchorage selling homes, and you know the number two things people look at? Where are the trails? We have these beautiful trails, a beautiful lifestyle, but we have no funds for school. There's this constantly insanity that the school district has to plan the same year the money comes in. I'm not a politician, but it just seems like why not plan this year for 2028 education or 2029? I mean, we keep on doing these insane things as a state, thinking that it's going to be any different. So I feel like our state is insane. I read yesterday in the paper that we didn't vote to accept all this federal money for our roads. I mean, it's wacko. I got 20 seconds. Okay, that's fine. I'll be fine. I'll talk until I run out of time. Anyway, I just beseech you to have courage. I'm not going to say good job on the veto because we should have overrid that veto. That was ridiculous that he even vetoed it. He keeps on vetoing everything that makes sense. So I elect you to have more than courage, to have guts, to stand for what's right, tax the hell out of us, have the courage to tax us. I keep on saying, when is the legislation going to have courage to tax me? I don't mind paying for being here. This is the only place in the world I'd rather be. So let me pay for being here. Okay? You got it? What did I say? Tax me. Thank you.
I'm former Senator Dave Donnelly. I'm a current member of the Anchorage School Board and a candidate for Anchorage Assembly here in Midtown Anchorage. I have voted now to close 5 elementary schools, but I voted against closing Lake Otis, and I voted against closing Campbell STEM because they were the wrong schools to close at this time. And also, because improper notice was provided to the public that those school closure votes were going to take place. In my opinion, it was a violation of the Public Meetings Act, and if it wasn't a violation, the law should be changed to make it a violation, because 11 days notice to a community before a vote like that was inappropriately short time. We have a Supreme Court case that says 5 days is not enough, but I don't think 11 days is enough either. It's such a significant change to a neighborhood and to a community. They deserve more notice than that, than what happened a couple weeks ago with the school board. Right now, Anchorage is being unfairly treated in the state K-12 education formula. The district cost differential hasn't been updated in over 20 years, and that means that our kids are getting $1,000 less per kid, per student, for our school district than the MATSU. And that's just unconscionable. It's objectively broken and unfair, and it means about $33 million a year that our school district's being short-funded. And if you want to put that into perspective, that would rehire all the teachers that this current budget is proposing to lay off, that $30+ million would do. So that's how significant this issue, and that is a function of state statute that should be corrected. The first step is to get a district cost differential update done. It only costs a couple $100,000. We're talking about hundreds of millions of dollars of impact here, and the legislature needs to do that. Thank you.
Could 41 and 42 raise their numbers?
Mind if I hold it? Hello? Hello. My name is Evan Leaf, a resident of Sand Lake and a student here at UAA. The issue I'd like to bring before you legislators is the need to democratize Alaska's publicly owned corporations. The current model of major policy decisions made by the Alaska Railroad and ADA are ultimately decided by boards appointed by the governor. The system where 5 out of 7 board members of these public corporations are appointed by the governor leaves these valuable state institutions woefully unrepresentative of the people. ADA and the Alaska Railroad are stagnant and unchanging to new ideas because of this model. ADA executives continue to finance unpopular and destructive oil production, and the Alaska Railroad really only services rich tourists before it ever serves the people of Alaska with affordable commuter rail. The governor and their friends are not the sole voices of Alaska. The people of Alaska should have democratic representation in seats and the ability to introduce policies in these publicly owned companies. Other democracies like Germany have publicly owned institutions like the KfW Bank with elected seats responsive to the people and invest what the people choose and want, not moneyed interests. The benefit of publicly owned institutions is that they have the opportunity to represent the interests of people and provide outcomes that aren't solely profit-based. Democratizing these institutions would better serve and represent the interests of the people of Alaska, allowing for change and improvement, rather than have these institutions stagnate and continue their unpopular and undemocratic management. Democratize them. They belong to the people. Also, pass Senate Bill 23, please. I like that one. Please and thank you.
Okay, apparently I only have 2 minutes. Jamie Lopez, East Anchorage. So I was formerly homeless, formerly worked for Coalition, and so I'm here for the people on the streets, the people that don't have a lobby, the people that are suffering today, right now, outside. Some of you know me up here. Some have volunteered with me at food pantries, and it's not getting better. People are falling into homelessness every single day. They're not getting help. They're being endlessly driven like cattle. And it's not good. The shelters are full. They don't get access to services. There are people outside that sometimes haven't had IDs 5 years, 10 years. There's people I've come across, resident aliens, who literally have been stuck here 15 years, don't know how to get out of it. The outreach in this town is poor. They don't know where to go. They can't find people. People that used to be in tents and camps or in the parks and trails, they were visible. People could bring things to them. And now, because of the policies being pushed, they're literally roaming around the city like bands of nomads and gypsy caravans. They're going inside of abandoned buildings, houses and trap houses, and anywhere they can. And I know where people are all over this city, but the professionals don't. And so recently, somebody made a decision they no longer want me to help people. And so I was taking food to people. At one time, I was feeding close to 350 in this town at least twice a week. Hot food, then going to the pantries, then getting that, sorting it, staging, taking it out at night, essentially 12 to 14-hour days, not getting paid. I spent over 20 grand the past 2 years to do this. So anyways, what I'm getting at is that there has recently been essentially a task force introduced, quality of life task force, where they're going to prosecute people for theft. There's a better way. The question is, do you want to improve the problem? There are ways to work solutions. And the last thing I'll say is, I don't think you're ready for this, what's coming next. People in industries are about to be endlessly displaced by artificial intelligence. And if you can't deal with the problem now, you need universal basic income to deal with that. And the Typhoon Long situation was handled correctly. If you want to talk, you know where I am. Thank you.
43 and 44. and 44.
Okay. Hi, my name is Tasha Hotch. I'm from District 19. I would like to say that I appreciate you guys for coming here and make yourselves available to hear the public say what is important to us. I support education in our kids. I would love to see us take a large step in Medicaid being available to all minor children, not just those that are financially challenged or have parents who know how to fill out the paperwork. I would love to see us just make that available in schools for everyone. And I think that public safety has always been a big challenge for me. What's available if you call for help? What happens after that process happens? I've been assaulted a few times. Someone tried to sexually traffic me, and that person, because I think just the way that the court systems are going, was charged with a DUI, and all of the other charges were dropped. And so I would love to see us hold our judicial system accountable of reporting those numbers. I get we don't have the staff to do it, but let's find out where those gaps are. And then kind of back to healthcare, I think most of us know that we're the leaders for STIs in the country. We just need to make that medication available to anyone who needs it. I'm like, you can get the testing, it's generally free, but then you need to go have your ID, go get your medication. Just give it to folks. Our transportation, our highways, I know that you guys were in Juneau, but if you're traveling along the highway from here to the valley, the roads were terrible. Lots of people in the ditch because the road was rutted and you were going where you weren't steering. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Jeff Landfield. I live in Rep. Josephson's district and Senator Gray Jackson. I just wanted to encourage you all to please be more honest about the permanent fund dividend, which has been a real cancer and paralysis to our political system. We've spent $8 billion on dividends in the last 8 years, and you know, the state has big problems, energy problems. Watana Dam would be 10 years ago, $5 billion. That's 600 megawatts. That's 5 times more than Bradley Lake, which is the cheapest power. It's 8 cents a kilowatt. The Kinnick Bridge or tunnel, if we built that, we'd have a big housing boom in the Mat-Su Valley. They build half the homes in the state every year built in the Mat-Su Valley. The second Douglas Crossing, which I voted on 10 years ago in Juneau, would open up swaths of housing and land in Juneau, and that was $250 million. The Kinnick Bridge 10 years ago was $1 billion, so $8 billion in dividends in 8 years. We could have done all of these things. They've all gone up in price, but I would just really encourage you all to start telling the truth to the public about this dividend and how it's totally unaffordable, and it's prevented us from solving many other problems in our state, which could improve everybody's lives. Thank you.
45 and 46.
Hi, I'm Janice Park, and I'm a candidate for Anchorage Assembly District 4. And one of the things that I have spoken at length with Representative Kopp is regarding pensions for public employees. I know that you all are working on a bill that has gone through the House and has been presented to the Senate. And I think there's a possibility that that could be offered to municipal employees as well. We have a real problem with keeping our positions staffed in public safety and in teachers. I do endorse a pension for our public employees, and I am supported by the local Anchorage Education Association. So I would like to advocate for that, and I'd like to see what the possibility is of that happening to whomever's best suited to speak to that. Excuse me. Oh, I'm sorry. My God.
Just to clarify, we're here to listen. We don't comment, or and we try not to react, even though we may agree, because we want everyone to feel listened to.
$46, 47 and 48 next.
So that's everyone who signed up to testify.
There anyone that wants to speak to have their 2 minutes that hasn't otherwise spoken? I see a couple back there, green shirts. So.
Hi, my name's Susan Klein, and Forrest Dunbar, Senator Forrest Dunbar, and Representative Gray are my voice in the legislature. I went to Representative Gray's event this morning, and one of the questions was asked about the money for transportation that we would get. I think it was $7 for every 10. Thank you. From the feds if the legislature would pass it, and my understanding is that it did not pass because there were some legislators who were concerned about that. And I would urge you to bring this up and pass it, because it's ridiculous that we can get $7 for every $10, and then we'd only have to pay $3 for our roads. So, or something of that nature. I'm not great on math. But I really would urge you to reassess that situation so we have a lot of road projects that need to be done in this state and in Anchorage, and I really would hope that we can do that. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Jay Farmwald. I live in South Anchorage almost 50 years. Two things. I've heard a lot of testimony about education, public education. I would like to echo that. In particular, the language immersion program in the Anchorage School District is a treasure, and that should be protected, especially in this small, shrinking world. It's something that's more than a treasure. It's almost a duty to learn a second language, in my opinion. Secondly, I'm a veteran, Air Force veteran from Vietnam era. My dad was an Iwo Jima vet. My son is currently in an expeditionary combat squadron deployed. I would like to see whatever the legislature can do to support our active duty military, and in particular those who are deployed currently in harm's way. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Michael. This is off the cuff. I had no idea being prepped. So the sole income for a government is taxes. They might sell some land, they might go to war. All right, so there's your income. We don't have any, but let's just say the cost of, if I pay $100 in estate tax, it's a lot out of my pocket than it is for a millionaire. You know, you'll figure out what's like the right proportions and all that stuff. It's important, but that's your money. We don't have any. Everything everyone talked about, it's not possible without money. The government's going to do that. You ain't going to get it. But, you know, we need that. It's imperative. And where was it? Someone talked about the cost of water heaters. People can't fix their homes. Stuff's too expensive. It takes money out of my pocket because I'm poor. I can't fix my own stuff. So, you know, it's a curve. It's a bell. That's really all I got. Everything else they said is all important. So, no, you don't need me to repeat it. We need money.
Hi, my name is Sarah. I'm 17I district, although I am disenfranchised. So I just got my bachelor's degree at this campus in May, and but I currently represent, this is a sentence I never thought I'd say, I represent prisoners. So I've been incarcerated, currently under supervision, and never really see a way out of the web. So I love this process. I think this is great that we're all doing this, and it restores my faith in humanity and politics. But I agree with everyone. I agree on taxation, funding schools for sure. And I'm not asking for more money for corrections. The opposite, actually. I think that what they need is oversight, because the DOC has no incentive to get people up and out. So they're mismanaging funds. We see it. So I don't think more money, unlike schools, which can manage money and are doing moving mountains, Department of Corrections has proven that they're not in it for restoring people to society. So I got my degree in spite of the micromanagement and the supervision and the restrictions. It was a battle, and so the only way that corrections gets rehabilitative is by outside organizations, caregiving people coming in and offering programs of education. The department does none of that, so that's all. Thank you.
My name is Louise Donhauser. I'm in Tobin and Fields District, and in light of like that loss that when the governor turned down that DOT money and what's going on with education, I think forums like this are so imperative, and I just want to thank Fields and Tobin for participating and making an event like this a priority. Thank you.
my name is Shawn McDonald. I live in East Anchorage. I was born and raised in Alaska. Bartlett High School graduate in '09, and I have 2 high schoolers of my own going through the system at this time. I don't have anything planned, but I would like to speak towards education. I became a teacher within the last 5 years from here in Alaska, one of the few born and bred that actually have been sticking around. And it's hard. Right now, my elementary school, we have classes over 30. And I don't know if you know little kids, but if you got 30 little ones with no assistance, it's not going well. People ask why it's not improving. It's because I physically, and mentally, emotionally cannot help over 30 students on my own every day with no help. And we're not just teachers. I provide deodorant, toothpaste, toothbrushes. I make washcloths and blankets for my students. And I don't know if people remember this, but we're mandated reporters. How many students have I not seen getting hurt because I don't have the capacity to help them?
All right, congratulations, sir. You're our last, or ma'am, you're our last testifier of the day.
Hello, my name is Doja Wilson, and I would like to complain about the bus system in Anchorage. My sister takes the bus every day to school because she likes to be there early. I would like to take the bus more often, but I don't like the schedule. And I don't like how, most buses are not as clean as they should be. I think that the bus stops could also be better and where they're placed. I just feel like Anchorage could do so much better for public transportation in the city itself. I do like how they have the bike thing where you can just, if you are tired and you want to bike, after biking in the city, then you can put your bike on the bike rack. I do wish that also the scheduling was also better. It is cut off at a certain point on the weekend when people want to do things on the weekend. It's not fair that it's cut off so early in the evening for me to want to do things out on the town in the weekend. It's ridiculous in my opinion.
I'd like to thank you all very much for being here. My name's David Sonneborn. I've lived here for 50 years or so. I'd especially like to thank Forrest Dunbar for his question to the junior so-called senator. And I think you deserved an answer better than you asked a hard Nancy question last year. So keep their feet to the fire, guys. You're doing great, and thank you very much.
Well, this has been a wonderful afternoon of testimony. This is, what we're seeing here is what makes America special. Folks can speak directly to their elected officials, and I think this was a fine example of it. So I want to thank all who attended, all of our elected folks who showed up, especially UA for letting us use this room, for hosting this, and so for America, for Alaska, for Anchorage, for UA, and for all who are here, but especially thank you to our staff for running those microphones around, doing that hard work. Let's give them a big hand. UA for the microphone.